What's up, guys? It's Rob here, and today we need to talk about Vinco Ventures stock, ticker symbol BBIG, because this stock has been pumping up over the past couple of days. A lot of hype is swirling around it. It has the potential to pump up more. We're going to be discussing some of the catalysts that have been moving it, as well as the potential it has to continue moving up in price, because we have actually seen things very similar to this. So we're going to start off looking at the BBIG stock chart right here. Vinco Ventures is on the move again today. It's up about 7% during the course of the trading day from where it closed yesterday. And you can see that yesterday it actually moved up quite a bit, right? Yesterday was a big pump up in price of about 30%. And it looks like so far we're continuing that trend, right? We're up above $3. So all is looking decently for BBIG at the moment. Now, a lot of people are wondering if this can continue, as well as why it's happening, right? Because there aren't too many places reporting on why this pump is actually going on now. So to understand why this pump is happening, you actually have to understand why BBIG has pumped up big in the past. And for the most part, it was because of a couple of reasons, right? Three real reasons. The first one is the tied dividend, and that is essentially a spin-off company that BBIG or Vinco Ventures is going to pay out to investors in the form of a dividend. And the ticker symbol for that company will be TYDE. And essentially, basically anyone holding this stock at the date of record, if you have enough shares, you will get a new company in your portfolio, TYDE, Cryptide, and it's going to be an NFT-based, crypto-based, blockchain-based company. So we will break that down real quick, just to talk about what exactly that is. So essentially, the Cryptide spinoff is one of the main reasons why hype has been growing around BBIG stock. It's essentially a new company, like we said, and hype has swirled around it for a while, right? In fact, the last time that BBIG was bumping up around here, it was actually because we were going to supposedly have the record date for that dividend coming up fairly soon. They then delayed it. And on that news, BBIG ended up tanking, bringing us down to our current price of where we are after the most recent pump. So unfortunately, that hasn't been the best catalyst for us in the past, right? It has failed us a couple of times. We've definitely pumped up on that news before, and we have been hurt by the BBIG management team that ended up delaying the release of that dividend, and we don't currently know the date of that dividend release. So we don't actually know the record date, so there isn't too much that we can talk about regarding when this thing really should be pumping up, if people are going to start buying up BBIG stock in anticipation of that dividend coming out. We don't actually know when that is. So this could be an early pump. It could be right on time, right? If some insiders potentially have information and are responsible for buying up BBIG stock, if someone knows something that we don't as the public, then maybe that's why the stock is pumping, right? But the second catalyst that really had this thing going in the past is actually the short interest. This was a short squeeze stock at one point. And you can see a very scary thing actually on this chart on Ortex that shows the short interest data. So first I'll show you what the short interest is currently. It's 25% of the free float, or 31 million shares. So it's actually fairly high, all things considered, right? There is the chance to squeeze out some shorts if BBIG's price moves up significantly. Now, the downside to this is that we have seen high short interests in the past, and we haven't actually gotten a short squeeze yet. And in fact, we got BBIG stock up at one point to $12.50. If you look at this yearly chart, we got to $12.49 right there. So we have had a fairly massive increase in price that was unfortunately unable to squeeze out shorts. In fact, if you look at this green line right here, overlaid on the price, this is measuring the short interest, and you'll see that shorts actually just kept on doubling down their positions as BBIG continued to move up in price. Shorts just doubled down. They added more shares to their short positions and kept selling the stock. So you actually saw short interest get pretty darn high. And that had the effect of pushing down BBIG stock price, in addition to the bad news regarding the tied dividend. That's what pushed us down in the past. Now, does BBIG have a chance of moving up more in the future? It certainly does, right? It definitely could move up more, especially if real concrete news about the tied dividend were to come out, because that is a massive catalyst. A lot of people want to get their hands on that new company. But we have seen pumps in the past, little pumps, that really haven't turned into much. Even this right here, right before the dividend, we saw a decent pump, and when it got canceled, we moved down. So it's not a guarantee that this pump is going to continue. However, it looks like there's a decent chance at the very least, right? The fact that we've been able to hold our ground today for the most part bodes somewhat well for BBIG. Obviously, it's not a guarantee, but we have been able to play with the $3 level a couple of times. We moved below it, and we moved back above to reflect some strong buying pressure from BBIG. And the reason we're seeing that, I'll show you guys real quick. right after I show you the channel analytics, we actually have 9,663 subscribers to the channel. We're trying to get to 10,000. So if you guys want some more BBIG stock news, if you want me to cover that, feel free to show me by subscribing to the channel, and then you'll be alerted whenever something new happens with BBIG, potentially about Cryptide. I will be sure to cover that. So the reason that BBIG has been able to pump up so much currently isn't because shorts are currently getting squeezed out. It's not because the Cryptide dividend has been announced and is on the way. It's actually just because of additional hype that's been generated on a bunch of different social media platforms. So for one, Reddit, right? This is tracking the top trending stocks on Reddit over the past 24 hours, and you can see that BBIG is up 220 positions to the 9th most discussed stock on Reddit. Vinco Ventures right there, BBIG with 137 mentions and 1,700 upvotes. So a lot of people are hearing about this stock, not necessarily for the first time. Obviously, a lot of people were involved with BBIG in the past. When it was pumping up to $12.50, a lot of people are potentially hearing about it for the second time on Reddit now, as well as on Google. You can see a lot of people have been searching for BBIG stock over the past couple of days. Yesterday, when it was pumping up around 30%, and today when it's up around 8%, a lot of people have been searching for it on Google. We're making search records on Google for the past week of 100 with BBIG stock at 9 a.m. A ton of people were looking for it. So it's obviously getting a lot of interest. And you can see on StockTwits, it's actually the most impressive right here. It's the number 2 most active stock on StockTwits. So it's an absolutely massive number of people talking about it, right? It's actually beating out AMC stock mention-wise on StockTwits. So a lot more people are talking about BBIG than most other stocks in the market at the moment. And that makes sense because it is actually, even today, a fairly big gainer, right? Up 8%. That's beating out most stocks in the market at the moment. A lot of stocks are red. The S&P is red. The tech stocks are red. So it makes sense that people are flocking to something that's a little bit greener than the rest of the market, and that, to be fair, has been pushed down to a fairly low valuation. Now, if you look, you can actually see that around $2, BBIG has had some historical support over the past couple of months. It's been tough to get BBIG knocked down below $2. So all in all, BBIG has held to fairly well. It's bounced off of that area a couple of times, and it's looking likely that this could hold itself, right? The fact that it hasn't just instantly, after this one day of pumping, started moving back down. Obviously, we still have the rest of the day to go. We don't know for sure if this is going to hold. It certainly could start moving back down, but it looks fairly decent, right? It's a good pattern that I'm liking. The fact that we are having increased mentions on StockTwits, that we've slowly been climbing the leaderboards throughout the day. We started in position number 4. We've been climbing on Google, and we've also been rising on Reddit and Wall Street Bets. In fact, we started the day at number 10, so we've already climbed up one spot. If we do continue to get more social sentiment on the green for BBIG, if we get more people talking about it, then that's what's really going to drive BBIG up in the short term, because we are not actually in any danger, or shorts aren't in any danger at the moment of actually getting squeezed out, right? Because we have been at much higher prices, and a lot of these shorts were actually building their positions at these higher prices. So we'd have to get fairly high on BBIG before we could actually see a short squeeze. And once again, we don't have any concrete news about the dividend, but what could drive BBIG up once again is people talking about it and generating hype and buying into the company on volume. So that's what we're really looking for with BBIG. Obviously, at a certain point, if we get high enough, then we can start talking about the potential for a short squeeze. And as we get closer to concrete information coming out about the Tide dividend, that's when we can start talking about that. But as for right now, it's mostly driven on higher volume, and it's actually a good sign that this purple line right here, the implied volatility line, is increasing. That shows that the markets are actually worried about this stock potentially making a big move one direction or the other, right? Hopefully to the upside. We'll see if that happens. It's obviously still a big risk, right? We don't know for sure if this is going to take off, but I will say that the chart looks somewhat similar to what it looked like right before it took off in a big way, right? We had, in the past, before a big pump, we had been moving down from a previous pump, and then we had a couple of days of green in a row, right? We had a couple of green days in a row, and then we pumped up massively to $12. Then we had a similar pattern, right? We moved down off of a big pump, and now we're getting a couple green days in a row, making it look somewhat similar to what we saw in the past. Now, obviously, that's not a guarantee that we're going to move up in the future. That's just an interesting comparison between what it looked like the days prior to the pump to $12.50 and the current potential pump that we're looking at right now. So obviously, this isn't financial advice. I'm not recommending that anyone buy or sell BBIG stock. I'm just letting you guys know what some of the catalysts are, as well as overlaying some of my opinion on it. But I'm not trying to convince you to make a buying or selling decision one way or the other. I'm just letting you know my opinion and some of the catalysts. So other than that, guys, if you enjoyed the video, feel free to subscribe to the channel and like the video. That would be much appreciated. And other than that, don't forget to have a great day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.